give us a sense of what's happening right now on the battlefield. Is Ukraine losing this war or winning this war?
We are not losing this war, and Putin is not winning. And really, his army now in the weak position. I think so, because they really, from the beginning of this war, they could occupy 1% of our land, but they spend 1,300,000 people.
Okay. Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being with me again today. My name is Kingsley. So today I have a very interesting video to bring to you, and also an interesting article to share with you. So as we all know, it's over the weekend, the Tomahawk hype has come and go. And as I said in my previous video, there are winners and there are losers. So after the meeting was over, President Trump gave an interview to Fox News. And in this interview, he gave his reason why he didn't deliver those weapons to Ukraine. So as we do always on this channel, I'll be taking you through my Twitter feed. We'll be going through these videos. We'll be analyzing them, discussing the video, and giving our opinion on the video. So let's get started. So here's the video. Journalists, did Putin give you any sense that he will be willing to end the war without taking significant territory from Ukraine? First of all, I wonder how that is going to work. Well, let's hear what Trump said.
Putin that he would be willing or open to the idea of ending this war without taking significant property from Ukraine?
Well, he's going to take something. I mean, they fought, and he has a lot of property. I mean, yeah, he's won certain property. If you say that, he's won certain property. We're the only nation that goes in and wins a war and then leaves, you know, like we did under President Bush in the Middle East. We go in, we blast the hell out of everybody, destroy the place, and then we leave, you know. Remember, I used to say, keep the oil.
Did you get any sense from...
Okay, that is funny. That is funny. Well, he's actually talking about President Putin. That's, yes, he will take some lunch because, you know, they paid that price in blood. So, I mean, it only makes sense for, well, them to keep the territories that they paid for in blood. So, and then he went on to talk about how they didn't take any oil from Iraq, you know, during the early years when they went to war against Iraq for their oil and, you know, whatever other reason that they went to war against Iraq for. So also we'll be looking at another video, another interesting video. He gave his reason why he didn't approve the sale of Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. And let's listen to it.
You know, we can't give all of our weapons to Ukraine. We just can't do that. And I've been very good to President Zelensky and to Ukraine, but we can't give, you know, if we're going to be short, I don't want to do that. I can't jeopardize the United States.
Did you get any sense?
You know, we can't give all of our weapons to Ukraine.
You see, there's one thing about America that's quite interesting. Regardless of how irrational you may think their leaders are, in America, they actually know what they're doing. They're not like Europe. So, of course, there'll be you know, you can never tell how the Russian will retaliate against this weapon. So, President Trump is simply saying, if he give this weapon to Ukraine, he's going to put the United States interest at risk. And if you think about that, it's true. Because apart from Russia maybe striking US soil, there are far more hybrid warfare that the Russians can do to US. They can and other people that opposes US, whether in the Middle East, whether in the maybe a matter of fact, they can even do what? They can even strike Poland. They can strike Poland. So the thing is, Tomahawk is not going to be, it's not a weapon of peace. It's a massive escalation. I mean, think about it. No matter how crazy you think Biden was, Biden didn't approve Tomahawk sale to Ukraine. So why would Trump do that? Why will he put the United States interest at risk for a war that has already been lost by Ukraine? In the course of this video, I'll share with you an interesting article from a NATO officer that actually said the truth, that the Ukraine war has been lost. But before we get to that portion of the video, I have another interesting video to share with you. This time it's from President Zelensky. So let's get into it. Here is Zelensky in an interview with, I think with ABC. He was asked, did he get a yes or a no about Tomahawk missile?
President Trump didn't say no, but for today didn't say yes.
He didn't say yes to Tomahawk missiles.
Yeah. I mean, this is a sensitive question, and messages from President that it's not enough for American interests, the number of you have. Yes, I can't share these details. I'm sorry, this is your internal questions, but I count on continuation of this dialogue. President Trump did.
See, well, I mean, you don't need to be. I think at this point, Zelensky needs to read the writing on the wall, and he should know that the United States is not going to supply him Tomahawk missile. Why? Because that weapon is a serious escalation that the United States is not willing to take. You can't go about with so much anger in your heart. I mean, I understand why there's so much anger in your heart against Putin or against the Russians, but they're not level-headed. I mean, we all witnessed the crazy attack, the Operation Spiderweb, and how brazen and how crazy that operation was. We all witnessed the attack. I know that attack happened on the edge of a meeting in between Zelensky and Putin. We should not forget. So here's another interview with Zelensky on why Putin is refusing to end the war. Now they keep saying Putin is refusing to end the war, forgetting that we all have memories, and now Zelensky has been the one actually delaying this war. And they keep saying it's Putin, but it's not Putin. It's Zelensky that's been delaying this war. Zelensky doesn't want to leave power, and Zelensky is afraid of his own population because of what they're going to do to him once this war ends. So he shifts those blame to Putin. So let's hear a bit about what he has to say in this interview, in the continuation of the interview rather.
Enough pressure on him and he will be ready. In any way, he afraid of his society. More pressure on him and not so comfortable life for his nation. They will pressure on him. He afraid only of his society because he wants to be president till he will die. And that's why, of course, he needs society to support him. That's why he count on continuation of this war. And that is what the big question, big challenge for all of us. That's why I'm not sure that in Budapest he will be ready. But if, God bless, President will pressure on him, and if Putin will be ready for any format, again I'm sorry that I'm repeating, any format of negotiations, bilateral, trilateral, any kind of, I think it will be good.
Well, President Putin has always been open to negotiations since the first day that this conflict started. He has said it repeatedly and he has demonstrated in good faith repeatedly that he's ready for this. But remember what the European says, that anything short of a Russia defeat, they won't accept it. They tried this for 3 years now, or almost 4 years. Still no Russia defeat in sight. They tried this with sanctioning the oil industry. They tried it with deep strike into Russia. They tried it with providing F-16 and every sort of weapons to Ukraine in the name of Russia population has to feel unrest. They don't have to be comfortable. But yet, no difference of all this to make. So, I think lastly, the last article I have to share with you is the confirmation from a NATO officer. This time, it's no longer just a Russian propaganda to talk that to speak about Ukraine losing the war. Now it's coming from NATO officers. They are now actually admitting that Ukraine cannot win this war. The same thing that a lot of us has voiced in the beginning of this war. That it's wicked of NATO to tell Ukraine to go and fight an opponent that they themselves will not fight. It's wicked, because if NATO actually look out for Ukraine, then they will never in any way be supplying, be drip feeding Ukraine in weapon and support the way they are doing. If you want this guy to win, give them everything you have. But here's the problem: if you give them everything you have, you will risk a direct conflict with Russia. So how do you balance that thin line? You can't. That is the answer. You can't balance that line. Why? Because Ukraine is not a part of NATO. So there will always be a limit of weapon you can give to them. Imagine Russia supplying maybe supplying in the 12-day war against Israel and Iran. Imagine Russia supplying Iran with every weapon they have, every sort of weapon they have, and yet will Russia claim that, oh no, we are not a part of this conflict? Nobody in the world will believe them. So that is exactly what is going on for NATO. So let's quickly go over to the article and let's go through it together. Kyiv Post. British Field Marshal claimed Ukraine cannot win against Russia. Surprise, surprise. Nobody's surprised there. I'm not surprised. You are not surprised. Definitely the people in the West are surprised by this article, because I am not surprised by it. Everybody is. So let's go on. A former chief of defense staff blamed Ukraine's lack of manpower and downplays any chance of NATO providing military support. Wow. Wow. Seriously, we all know. Former British senior army officer Lord David Richards has told UK newspaper The Independent that Ukraine cannot win its war with Russia without NATO military NATO military support, and should instead negotiate peace terms with Moscow. Speaking to the Independent Word of Trouble podcast, the 5-star ranked former chief of defense staff who led NATO forces in Afghanistan. So they is not just an ordinary staff. This is not just an ordinary staff. Say that what we have done in the case of Ukraine is encourage Ukraine to fight, but not giving them the means to win. Exactly what everyone has been saying. Exactly what I just said. You send these people to fight a battle that you yourself you will not fight. And the only thing you keep on telling these guys is, we will stand with you to the end. When you're not even fighting, you're not willing to die for them. If NATO wants to show a serious commitment. Where is the coalition of the willing? If they want to show serious commitment, where are the boots on the ground? You are avoiding the boots on the ground so you won't enter a direct battle with a direct conflict with Russia. But yet you tell Ukraine they have a chance to win. If Ukraine have a chance to win, why can't NATO have a greater chance to win since NATO is, way bigger than Ukraine and also bigger than Russia? It's simple logic. So let's continue. The former commando added that even with the right resource, Ukraine would not win as they haven't got the manpower, which is true. No manpower, nobody to be on the front line. Why is considering that the West is in de facto a hybrid war with Russia, that there are genuine affection for so many Ukraine? Well, Richard said he did not believe NATO will join the war because it's not in our vital interest. Interesting. It's no longer in their vital interest that Ukraine, that they'll fight Russia direct. I thought they have been talking about, how Russia needs to be defeated. Now, all of a sudden, it's not their interest that they join Ukraine, they fight against Russia. Interesting how time can change everything. So, let's keep on going. In the podcast, he praised President Zelensky's inspiration leadership, but said, my instinct is that the best Ukraine can do is a sort of a squad draw. Well, there's no squad draw. There's no squad draw. There's no squad draw because Russia is winning everywhere. So there's no squad draw. Ukraine, Zelensky can go home, just as Trump said the other day. Like they can go home and tell his people, look, we won. We won. Maybe we won because Russia did not take the whole of Ukraine. You can say that as a victory to your people. But history will decide who the victor and the loser is in this war. So let's continue. Lord Richard's downbeat position appears to contradict a more optimistic tone struck by US President Donald Trump in September that Ukraine could reclaim all its land with the help from Europe, citing Russia's economic problem. However, following a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin and a meeting with Zelensky in Washington on Friday, Trump appeared to pivot from that position and said that Russia and Ukraine should stop where they are. Let's keep on going. Sharing his view on Ukraine's chances, Lord Richard backed the stance taken by former U.S. Joint Chief of Staff Chairman Mark Milley, who said in November 2022 urged Kyiv to enter negotiation with Russia. Interesting. In an interview covering multitude of topics and aspects of his military life and career, Lord Richard acknowledged having had a stellar career record, but that he has at times been out of step with his military and political superior and falling foul of the establishments. So let's check more. Lord Richard's comments also differ to those of Colonel Philip Ingram, a former British Army officer and intelligence expert, who told UK newspaper The Daily Mail in September that although Ukraine faces a mammoth task in trying to reclaim its occupied territory, there's a realistic possibility. Ingram added, the Ukrainians are having a lot of success in destroying Russia's oil and gas industry, which helped fund this war. The more the Ukraine destroyed, the less ability Russia has to manufacture arms and ammunition they need to support tactical fighting in the east. They could be put into a position where they are in danger of parts of their front collapsing. Okay, I don't know who's right. Maybe that's where the article ends. It's interesting that everything that we all know in these past years of this war, and we have been called Russia propaganda and Putin apologies and everything. That same narrative is now being echoed by NATO. They saw that everybody knew this was how it's going to end. At the end of the day, the war will end on pen and paper. That means there'll be a signing of an agreement to end the war. So why didn't they say this from the beginning? Why did they push the Ukrainians to go fight a war that they themselves they can't fight? Why did they make the Ukrainians pay the price of weakening Russia? Why did they make Ukraine the battering ram against Russia? And to make the matter worse, why did they promise Ukraine NATO when they know within themselves that Ukraine will never be a member of NATO? All these questions are what the European European country citizens need to ask their leaders. Those ones that push Ukraine to continue this war. Example, the president of Finland, Poland, Ursula von der Leyen, every one of them. Those ones that keep saying, we provide assistance to Ukraine, and with that, Ukraine can win. All those people that build those narratives, ask them these questions. If you know Ukraine will be in NATO, why do you promise them they will be in NATO if they defeat Russia? When you know it's not possible for them. So what did those guys die for? For the interests of who exactly? Who actually wanted this war? Who wanted this war? Because you can't tell me it's Putin. Who wanted this war? The best time that Ukraine had a deal to negotiate this war, but Johnson destroyed it. I mean, you clearly saw that in the article in 2022. So, who wanted this war? I believe that's a question, an answer we may never know. But guys, thank you for being with me again today. Like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.